2023 began with my 21st birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Where I bought my first 2 bottles of alcohol, Applejack and Limoncello, and then watched Totoro with my mom and my twin sister. I got my second ear piercing, and then came the fateful day where I went to London. For the next 4 months, I lived abroad to study at the British American Dramatic Academy. I lived right in between Camden Town and Kentish Town, for those of you in the know, in a hotel with a very funky room in it, which I really liked. I did in fact fall asleep a few hours into being there, and then when I woke up, all the shops were closed, so then I just had some McDonald's and watched Daniel J. Layton, and that was my first night in London. But before we get into classes in life, let's explore London a little bit. Quietest place in London.
I think you're right. It is 6 a.m. on my second day of class at BADA. I got groceries for the first time yesterday at Lidl. Some really tiny culture shocks. One, the jet lag, because I didn't fully get what jet lag was. I just sort of thought, oh, I guess people are tired for like the first day and then they fall asleep at the right time and that's fine. No, your body just sort of like has to reset itself. From the East Coast to London is 5 time zones, so it's gonna take on average 5 days for me to get back to normal, which is great, especially for someone with hypersomnia. All of the ads here on YouTube are the exact same ads but with different voice actors, so they're all like British accents, which was the most like uncanny valley odd thing. Class is from like 9 to 6, and so everything is closed before we go to class, and everything is only open for like an hour or 2 when we leave. It's also really gross, but in me like not being able to get groceries and stuff until last night, that also means that I couldn't like shower or brush my teeth until last night because everything was closed. I did the 2 like most nerve-wracking things that were really freaking me out and leaving me very unsettled yesterday, which one was obviously getting food in the house, getting toiletries in the house, and 2, like trying to get my phone to work. Or my data was supposed to work immediately when I landed, and then I always had a hunch that it wasn't going to, and I was right. So thank God I landed with a friend that I met who was going on the same flight. And you know how they say that like everything in the States is always a lot bigger, like grocery wise? Most of them is true, except this is the smallest salt. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go get dressed. So goodbye.
Living in London was very interesting because not only was I living in a new country for the very first time, but I also didn't have a meal plan and was housed in a hotel, so it was functionally me living alone in my first apartment while also living in a whole nother country. Which, you know, had its bits of chaos.
Oh yeah, it's off. Oops. Do you see that right now? It starts peeling? 3 fire trucks! No! My last week here. Apparently one of my Tupperwares. I swear I've put these in the microwave before, is the funny thing about that. But, well,
But we got better.
I made soup! Yay! I was having such an aesthetic moment, but fine. You want the story, tell the story.
I tripped on this line
Yeah.
twice, and now I'm continuing to reel it up, and there's so fucking much of this.
It was currently in a tree.
It was in a tree, and
Yeah.
then I ripped it down.
And now it's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here for a while, folks.
Also, since I turned 21 and then immediately went to London, living here was also my first experience of like nightlife and dancing and clubbing and that sort of thing, which of course, some shenanigans ensued. And then
Until you said that, Corey, for me to notice that it was upside down.
Daisy put it out earlier.
I did!
That's good for amazing. I am good with that.
This wasn't a club. This was very chaotic Passover.
End of part 1. Intermission. End of intermission. Part 2.
No way.
Yeah,
Right there, like behind the trees?
yeah.
The Isle of Wight. I know that.
End of part 2. Part 3, later that evening.
I'm about to meet Armand. 2 years in the making. We did end up meeting! This is particularly special because Armand is my longest content creator friend. And of course I forgot to take any footage the first time we met, but don't worry, because then we went to Brighton together.
Planning on swimming, like, you know, further away from the wharf. Because I figured.
I needed to vlog Armand.
I know.
I also took a small trip to Amsterdam. It was for spring break, and we didn't get to stay super long, but it was really, really cool. I went to the Van Gogh Museum, which he's probably up there as one of my favorite artists ever, so that was so awesome. And then, well, I got caught in the hail on the way back from Amsterdam. Along with acting in London, part of the program also let us watch a whole lot of shows, which was really, really, really cool. And so here is my theater interlude with a lot of reviews and me geeking out. And also seeing shows on my own, because theater is way more financially accessible in London than it is living near New York City. I didn't realize I liked it until the end. awesome atmosphere. I don't think it added much to the original story. Fantastic band and amazing story. Top 3 favorites. Dull, great media design. Cute dancing, not my favorite. I prefer the movie. But I mean, look at the set. It was still pretty magical. Absolutely delightful. I thought it was gonna be a cash grab, but it was so, so amazing.
Oh my god, I saw the preview of Phaedra at the National Theater. Oh my god.
Travis Alabanza did a Q&A at my school after we saw Sound of the Underground. It was really reassuring to see someone non-binary and genderqueer be really successful and have their show put up in the royal court. It was just wonderful. And they spelled my name wrong, and I couldn't be more happy. And last but not least, BADA took us all out on a field trip to the RSC in Stratford-upon-Avon, where we saw The Tempest starring Alex Kingston, and for you Doctor Who fans, that's River Song. It was just such a breathtaking show. I couldn't express it enough. One of the greatest things I've ever watched on a stage. And then, as we walked out, I noticed there was a stage door, and, well...
Oh, they're gonna love that.
We took a video. They said we were the best audience, and then Alex Kingston said to me when I told her she was my mom's favorite companion, "I'm not a companion, I'm a wife." So true, I got her autograph. So acting conservatory itself is wonderful and really, really difficult. Who would have thought? I realized I did not film much of my actual process. It's mostly consisted of memorizing.
Upon the bank and shore of time, we'd jump the life to come.
Shakespeare.
I obsequiously lament the untimely fall of the virtuous Lancaster.
And more memorizing.
The empty air I reach, and you're not there.
I played a lot of fantastic roles. I was Macbeth, I was Hamlet for a little bit, I was Algernon from The Importance of Being Earnest, then Monica from Present Laughter, even though now that I know the show better, I would have preferred to be Gary. My favorite piece that I did was being Macbeth and doing If It Were Done When 'Tis Done, Then 'Twere Well It Be Done Quickly, and then doing the scene afterwards with Lady Macbeth, who was played by my friend Danny, and it was just really wonderful. And it was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Some days were a little bit worse than others. I was just the most sick I have been in years for 2 days, and I had to miss 2 days of class today. And it's also been kind of stressful and kind of a lot of everything right now. I thought that going to conservatory and that sort of thing would sort of be this catch-all solution of I would learn so much and fall in line with everything I've been learning, that I would just become a great actor with not a lot of struggle and that sort of thing. It would just sort of happen. But there are a lot of things I don't quite understand, a lot of things I'm struggling with. And it's a lot harder than I thought, and a lot more stressful than I thought. And at first I thought maybe I'm just bad at this. Because honestly, going to conservatory a little bit is making me fall out of love for acting, which is a big problem. But I was watching Glee, and there's this stupid little quote that Blaine said that made me think.
Well, it's just molting. He's growing a new coat of feathers, so his body has to shut down.
Maybe I'm just growing a new coat of feathers, so my body is just shutting down for a little while. I don't know. That brought a very small moment of optimism, which was nice.
Just give it a little while. We'll be singing again in no time.
But we got better.
So many
favorite rooms. So after the first 8 weeks of class, we have spring break, and then we're all casted into shows. And then for the last 5 weeks, we all just do shows. We just work on the show that we were assigned to. And so I got to be in Jekyl and Hyde by Neil Bartlett. And that's how I finished my BADA career.
Early morning, really calm. I've actually never seen this room with the lights off.
I didn't do it. Go for it. Oh dear.
It's on top of that.
What if we mixed it? Can you mix it?
You made a good diss. Whoa, whoa!
There we go! Ooh! Bubble, bubble, bubble. It's definitely green.
That's just mixing colors.
Straight as empty as a church. I have to say I was quite no. I tell you, I was quite longing for the sight of a policeman. I'd rather not say. Well, good heavens. Yes, I was, and that was when I saw them. Right.
I mean, putting in the BADA. All the paper is, so we're going to keep spare envelopes just in case.
But
anything that's like
Are you looking at pictures?
Oh my god! Wait. Sorry.
It's show day. All there's to say about that, I guess.
So cute now.
They're downstairs.
It's done. But also, there's so much dust in the theater that I performed at, the Theatre Technis, that literally just being in there for a little bit of time gave me a sore throat. Being there all day was a lot. But I'm done. This is what I look like when I finished conservatory. I am now a conservatory trained actor. It was the first time ever that I think the performance of the show was my best run. I'm gonna go sleep forever. The big sleep, the big sleep. My final weekend was so incredible. I am a very big Dodie fan, and lucky me, because at the very last weekend I was at BADA, she had a performance at Rough Trade East.
Wait for me. This is the part where you can sing along. Ready? La 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 la. Lonely bones, have you forgotten?
And she smells like lemongrass and sweet. She tastes like apple juice and peach. Oh, you would find her in a Polaroid picture. And she means everything to me.
It was just so magical. And then afterwards, I went down to the National Theatre and saw Dancing at Lagasa. And it was a really, really wonderful final weekend, which then leads me to leaving. Time to move out. Wow. I'm also really sick. Instantly when the show ended, I started to get sick. But that is not the note I want to leave on. I might cry.